Welcome back, amigos, to the Tech-Mex Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Ramirez, and I'm here with our co-host, Mando Gomez.
Man, I feel like lucha libre or something there, man.
I'm liking it. I think we're going to keep doing it. Today, we've got a jam-packed schedule. We're officially season 1, episode 4. I might call it episode 4.5 since this is kind of our second try at this one. We had a little technical difficulties, so hopefully it goes a little smoother, maybe.
Yeah. Dale. So,
Dale.
the first topic, man. Bitcoin. I was so interested to make sure that BlackRock and all of the different ETFs, they get approved. And unfortunately, it didn't get approved by the SEC. So for the audience, right now what is happening is that a bunch of different companies in Wall Street, they're trying to get the exchange traded fund, ETF for short, to get approved. And the importance of that is that if we get that approved, now all of the institutional money can basically come in and invest. Because right now, Bitcoin, there are big companies also buying and selling, but that's kind of what it is happening on the market. Some of the experts are saying, obviously, that if that happens, the price will go up. It kind of raises a different question, right? Like in the case of kind of Bitcoin, right? If the price goes, right now we are about 30K in the moment that we are recording this. But I do have a lot of hopes. And I think that maybe the part that it still seems like a bad news, but there is some kind of good thing there. And the good thing there is that at least there is some kind of guidance from the SEC to say, hey, if you do this, BlackRock or Fidelity or ARK, then we will kind of approve it. So I think that between that and maybe next year we have the halving, we should be able to see maybe more money flowing to the market. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I still think it's great news. We're still on the right path to get these things approved at some point. You know, I think the Fed just has to put up a little bit of a fight just to make sure that it looks like they're doing their job. But, you know, I think eventually BlackRock is like such a big part of, you know, world economy, everything. They've got their hands all over the place. This is something that's going to get through. They know what they're doing. And then, you know, you've got the Fidelity and ARK Investments also doing the ETF. So I think it's going to really make it a lot easier for people to be able to come in, large institutional investors, hedge funds, things like that, be able to come and start investing in Bitcoin. And I think, you know, we just saw the mention of BlackRock, and you know, Bitcoin went up by like 20%. So I think you know, there's more to come. I think we're really at the beginning here, and then this cycle is going to be incredible. I think we're gonna see a lot of good things, and we're gonna see volatility to the upside. I think so. I think it's a lot of good news there.
There's a large investment funds like pension funds, things like that, that maybe if they only that maybe 1% or something like that of their portfolio is big money. So which that would make the value to get increased. So I agree.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I think it's going to help crypto as a whole, but you know, especially Bitcoin. So looking forward to a lot of that. Now, along the same lines there, you know, we're hearing a lot of things are changing, and maybe people are viewing things a little bit differently when it comes to crypto and Bitcoin. Recently, this week, we heard the IMF say that, hey, Bitcoin can't be banned. I think we've seen lots of folks try to ban it, several countries. I mean, one of the more notable ones is China, where they've kind of flip-flopped a little bit with their banning of Bitcoin, and each time, you know, folks are saying, you know, Bitcoin's dead, but Bitcoin don't care, and they kind of keep on going. But really, what the IMF was saying previously is like, hey, you know, Bitcoin or crypto in general is maybe not a good place for several different countries to go in and invest in and, you know, try to work with. But what they've seen is these bans really, they have not worked out. people are finding ways to use crypto and to hold crypto, especially Bitcoin. So they changed their stance. And for those that aren't super familiar with IMF, this is the International Monetary Fund. So these are the folks that are basically the bank for different countries around the world. So when they say that Bitcoin can't be banned at this point, I think it carries a lot of weight, and I think what you hear is that you go back to the old saying, first they laugh at you, then they fight you, but then they join you, and I think you can maybe think about, well, which one of those phases are we actually in? IMF has seen, in the beginning, China was banning everything and it wasn't working now. Started paying attention to it, where they're not laughing anymore and they're trying to actively maybe hold it back. But now they see that that's not working, and so they're gonna try and join you. I mean, they've been doing studies with like one of the more notable places is El Salvador with Bukele out there. They've done a great job of really creating a good strategy to figure out how to work, get their economy to work with crypto and with Bitcoin. And so they've really been at the forefront at bringing a lot of this in and trying to work with crypto and Bitcoin in general. So they've attracted a lot of things. A lot of people, developers, they've made it so that regulations are a lot easier to work with. They've talked about taxes, lessening taxes, things like that. So I think they're seeing those things starting to work in a lot of places, and with a lot of inflation running rampant in a lot of places, they're really taking a good look at Bitcoin to see how it can help their economy and really help the people, all the constituents within their countries, to get ahead. What are your thoughts around the IMF here, Eric?
Yeah, I think that the way that the macroeconomy is kind of moving forward, we used to see Bitcoin being following different prices. One of them, it was the Nasdaq. If you see the chart between the price of Bitcoin and the price of Nasdaq, it was very close. So for me, I want it to be by itself. I don't want it to be very correlated to other assets. So, and what it means correlation is that, right? So if it is by its own, fluctuating in the price of the volatility, that will be an interesting thing, right? Because it will allow us to hedge. And that's what you want on this type of instruments. There's another variable there in the macroeconomy, which we have mentioned it before, which is the yield curve. And that's kind of sometimes the part that it upsets me a little bit with the financial institutions, that they use all of these different terms. But if you, I'll unpack what is a yield curve, right? A yield curve is basically nothing more but the interest rates between 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and so on, that allows you to see how money is expensive. We all are familiar when you are getting a car and you get an interest rate because you're getting a loan with the bank. I don't understand why they don't use names like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is similar. But usually what happens is that the price is going to increase. So you'll see basically, if you go to a payday loan, imagine that you want just to get like the next 30 days, they will charge you X amount of percentage. But imagine that in some cases right now, the curve is inverted. What it means is that for the shorter periods, it's more expensive to borrow money. So then the curve actually comes high to low. So it's more expensive to get it for the next months than actually get it for the next 10 days, 5 years, or whatever. So that's actually an indication. Usually when that happens, there's an indication for recessions. And for the last 9 recessions since 1955, it has been a good indicator to kind of predict these type of events. And I think that you have to take it sometimes with a grain of salt, because right now a lot of investors watch that. Before, this type of knowledge, this type of information, it was kind of hidden, right, and not truly understood by many people. So they were good predictors. I think that right now, the way that the Fed is doing is that maybe we can do a soft landing. And people is asking, hey, we're going to be in recession, and what is going to happen? And look, I'm not a financial investor or anything like that. Again, disclaimer: we are just two dudes in the internet. So please do your own due diligence. But what I can tell you is that I really think that we have been in a recession for a year and a half. And usually the recession, what it means is that for a couple quarters, we have been in GDP, which is basically kind of as a country, how much we are producing, we have not doing well. And usually that's the definition of a recession. But again, we can say tomato, right? And I think that if the government is able to not increase the interest rates too high, like right now it looks like they are stopping to increase the interest rates. Right now it's maybe between 6%, 7%, and we continue like that, maybe a little bit flat. We should be able to start gliding the economy and maybe start getting again a bull market. By the way, sometimes people that they don't know, bull market, bear market, what the heck is that? It's very simple. Imagine that when the price is going up, it's just a bull. And that's actually the reason why in New York, they have a statue of a bull in Wall Street. And versus a bear is usually attacking you and it's kind of pushing you back. Then that's kind of when you hear this is a bear market, that's what it's implying. Is somebody is trying to sell the products and that way they're pushing down the price. So it's always a fight between the bulls and the bears. So what do you think, Eric?
Well, I think most people are used to seeing this. At least those folks that are, have bought a house. They may have noticed when they go out and get their loan. Usually, when you price like a 15-year loan versus your 30-year loan, you normally, or when the economy's kind of in a normal place, your 15-year loan should be a little bit cheaper. They get you a better rate, for a shorter term versus your longer term one it can be a little bit longer, but now things are flipped, right? So I think that's pretty interesting. And you know what? I think, I heard something else in the news actually this week, and it kind of ties into that. There's a lot of Hispanics now in Texas. I think they've said that Hispanics have become the largest demographic now in Texas. So, big applause to all the Hispanos in the audience. It's pretty exciting to see kind of these kind of events. But, there's a lot of people moving into Texas, and a lot of them are trying to buy homes right now. And so they might be seeing this nowadays that, the rates aren't kind of what they used to, aren't what they used to be. And they're seeing that maybe, one, because of the inflation, all the rates are super high. But, that's something that they're probably looking at. But, one of the things about, this change and shift in demographics in Texas, you start to wonder a little bit about, what does it really mean for Hispanics to be the highest demographic in Texas? I think for a long time, people really saw this coming and thought, well, little by little, the Hispanics are going to start growing. But you might think about things like representation and influence within the state of Texas. I think there's maybe some of that's missing. You might not see that. And a lot of this may have to do a little bit with some of the politics and a little bit some of maybe the legislations that's going on within the state. But I think with Hispanics really finding their voice within the state, now they have the numbers to kind of show that. I think there's going to be different ways, or the state is going to have to start really realizing that this is a very strong, a really strong group, even within like purchasing power and things like that. They may start shifting how some of the things, maybe companies and businesses are actually approaching the state, just knowing that it's such a large demographic now, again, being the new majority within the state. I myself have looked a little bit into organizations like LULAC that are looking at, the plight of the Latino public and what are the things that they can do to make things better. So I think recognizing and seeing the growth of the Latino population, the Hispanics within the state, I think it's really interesting to see and how things are going to develop over time. Mando, do you see or do you have any thoughts around how you see this changing or things changing within the state?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for me, we have to get more seats on the table, right? And sometimes it's unfortunate, but it requires also money, right? To be able to have business owners that they make money, and at some point as well, they go into politics, and you start seeing more senators, more Hispanic around. So I think that that will give a proper representation, because it doesn't matter if we are the majority, but if we don't truly have representation on the table, right, for political reasons too. And again, there are Hispanics that they are blue, and there are Hispanics that they are red, and it's all good, right? I think that always is debatable, and that's part of the politics, right? As we mentioned it before, we shy away from those. We are geeks and techies, but I think that is also silly or naive not to be aware of what is out there, right? And how it influences a lot of the topics that we are discussing over here. Yeah, so I think that also moving away from politics and being more like in the business and economy, we spend across all of the different groups, right? We spent in leisure, we spent in travel, we spent in gadgets, and so on. So right now, I think that one of the purpose of this podcast is to inform you in different companies, different businesses, different avenues and opportunities to invest in different assets, and Bitcoin is one of them, right? That's the reason why also we are bringing it up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so I think it really is going to inform us. I mean, we ourselves are still kind of thinking about different projects that we can do. So knowing this, we're in the state of Texas, we're in Houston, probably at the heart of a lot of that shift in demographics. So I think it's really good for us to recognize that and really know that we will have a lot of support in whatever we do. So it's pretty exciting moving forward.
And you can see it in the music. We have this. We have mentioned this before, that music and art is a representation of the society. We were trying to get into Peso Pluma, so I let's discuss that, because I really applaud the youngsters that they are trying to make fusion on the norteño and banda, and now they start grabbing different sounds, and it's kind of becoming a new trend, right? Like and you see all of these different sounds out there. And I know that there is some people that they say that is like horrible music, but you have to appreciate. I think that every generation has their own things, and like in our case, 80s, 90s, and so on. They are good times, but I also appreciate, what is happening at the moment. So what's your take there on Peso Pluma?
Hey, Peso Pluma, I mean, I think he caught the world by storm. I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere with this kind of new music style that a lot of people across the world hadn't heard. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, people are really love that one song. It's got Ella Baila Sola, where he goes, Bella. It's a really good video. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out on YouTube. He's already got millions of views, but it's really cool. But as I was, watching this, you would see people do live reaction videos on YouTube, things like that. There's people from the UK, from Japan, from all over the place that are listening to this music in Spanish and dissecting it, and really talking about all their favorite parts. So I mean, yeah, we tried to go to his concert, but it didn't happen. But maybe we can make one of the next ones. It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Also, you can recognize. I also like artists that you can recognize their voice. And when you're hearing Peso Pluma, and dude, the guy is like 24-year-old.
Yeah.
I hope that he doesn't mess his life, and like most of these artists that they start very young, they just have a rough life. But I hope that he does it well and continues to do some good music. But yeah, the lyrics, the instruments that they use, right? That's the other thing, that they don't use drums. They basically use metals like trumpets.
Trumpets, right?
So I think that the whole sound comes together, in my opinion. And yeah, that song is very catchy, very, very catchy. Um,
It is.
going back to what we were talking though, in Latin America, I really think that the impact for Bitcoin, talking about different culture and different things, we have seen good influence on, like in El Salvador, and now there are talks in Brazil as well to be able to have it across. And I think that it's just going to be all of these different waves. So listen, we are not financial advisors, full disclosure, but the price it increased from 25K to 31K because of the BlackRock, right? So what will that mean for the market? Look, I don't have a crystal ball or anything, but basically in some of the technical analysis, I think that the next price point might be 35. That will be something that we will visit. Obviously, the price will fluctuate. Nothing goes like in a straight line. But also, I'm very curious because if all of the BlackRock happens and Fidelity and all of the ETFs, and as well the halving. By the way, for the audience, the halving is an event that happens where it is minting all of the different coins, in this case bitcoins, that they're going to exist. In total, there's going to be the creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. It architected in a way, they don't know if it's a person or a group. And the way that they architected Bitcoin, it was that it would be only 21 million Bitcoins ever. So next year on April, if I believe, 2024 will be the last time that that basically they were minting. So that's the event of the halving. So you have all of these things converging between halving and as well the ETFs and maybe geopolitically some adoption that it might propel the price. Some people might think that it might go to 60, 100K. Who knows, right? But I think that what you cannot deny is that it's another asset. And what's your take there, Eric?
Yeah, I think it's a great one. I think because it democratizes a lot of things for people around the world. Not everybody may have access to be able to get into ETFs and things like that. Have access to investment funds, but for something like Bitcoin across the world, if you've got internet and a phone, you can buy some Bitcoin using your fiat currency. So that's one of the things that's really exciting. I think it's really trying to level the playing field for everybody, and especially a lot of folks that are within these countries where they just have runaway inflation. It gives them a chance so that they can maybe save money and make a difference for their future. So I think, as more people start realizing this and what Bitcoin can do for them, that story is going to travel. A lot of people are going to start, adopting it. So I think the sky's the limit for Bitcoin, and that number's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and I think that for countries where Argentina or Venezuela, you want to be able to have a stronger currency. In many years it was the dollar, but we have seen after the pandemic that at least dollar has been losing some strength. There is also a lot of chats between, they call it the BRICS, where you have China, Brazil, India, South Africa, etc. These countries that they are trying to de-dollarize the economy. So there are forces pushing through. And look, when you put all your savings in like yuans, right, in Chinese money, not really, right? I mean, the idea here, we live in America, and I'm seeing inflation. I prefer, in my opinion, to have a portion of my net worth into crypto. And I think that I mentioned it to you before. My way of investing is very simple. I was reading this book where I got a couple of ideas, and it was super simple. That it was just literally three assets: 33% in real estate, 33% in business, and 33% in gold. Before Bitcoin, I was in gold, but then for me, it's kind of the new gold. So again, this is a very simplistic way of seeing dividing my own money, but it has worked. And one of the things that we wanted to drive home is that you have to invest for the long term. We continue to say this over and over through the pod, but we wanted to make sure that it gets ingrained on the audience. The best things in life they just happen over time. If you're looking for a rich, quick scheme, this is not the channel. This is not the pod, man. What do you think,
Yeah,
Eric?
that's right. I mean, just anecdotally, for us, I know we're going on a decade, right, in with Bitcoin and crypto, and so we've seen that, over time, over and over again, Bitcoin always seems to beat estimates and defy the critics. So I think that's really good. And then at the same time, like you said, diversifying. Real estate has always been something that we've worked on. Also, I know we tried to go in on an apartment deal at some point, and we've both built homes or houses, and so I think it's always been something that really does work. Even having rentals and things like that. So we could probably touch a little bit more on that in one of the future episodes. But I think it makes a lot of sense. Diversification and Bitcoin being potentially like digital gold, right? That's how a lot of people are seeing it, as a store of value and hedging against like economic downturns and things like that. I think people are going to see the strength in it, and we'll see kind of how that moves the price a little bit.
It has shifted my way of seeing Bitcoin, by the way. I will not lie. In the beginning, I was fully libertarian. It's like, yeah, this is going to replace some currencies. But now I have been shifted, and Michael Saylor is one of the persons that is kind of driving a lot of these concepts and ideas. And one of the things that he says is that Bitcoin is kind of a storage of energy or wealth, right? And it resonates with me because, to be honest, I don't care if I have to transform the coins into maybe some fiat, right? I don't mind that, but I do care that the value of the asset. And he has a great analogy, and I think that maybe I'll share it right now, which is if you have a piece of real estate in Manhattan, or just name it the city that you like, in a very, very prime real estate, will you sell it? The right answer is like no.
Right.
You don't want to
Right.
sell those. Why? Because there is no another Manhattan, right? It's like generations and generations for hundreds of years. Manhattan has been Manhattan. So, which I can see that as Bitcoin, right? Why would you want to sell it? And again, there are many ways for you to be able to kind of refinance, try to get loans against your Bitcoin to be able to, or your crypto, because you do that with all of the assets, and that's what kind of the rich people do.
Yeah.
So
You've got to be careful though on those sometimes, because you've seen FTX, Celsius was one that bit me a little bit. Lost probably a good amount of money there. We'll see how the bankruptcy stuff works out. Hopefully I can get some of that back. But
yeah, and I think that's exactly why I'm excited that we are getting basically the regulations and the SEC involved, because in that way bad actors like those companies, they get in compliance. So we should start seeing, you might not see like super spikes in prices that might stabilize it, but also you get the goodies, right? Like now there's a little more order. It's not the Wild West. And then you will, if you are trusting your money into a bank account, right? Because they are regulated and they are insured, I think that it will happen to this industry. So, and that's what I'm excited. The other thing that we didn't mention, Bitcoin has been one of the best assets ever on their growth, right? Compared to S&P 500, to NASDAQ, to whatever. The comparison is bananas. So do your own due diligence, spend some time, read the Bitcoin Manifesto, watch some videos. We will keep bringing this topic, so that way we kind of guide you through. You can spend like $50, $100. You don't have to put like a big percentage of your net worth. But in that way, you start getting familiar. Go to Coinbase. We are not sponsored by them or any means. It's just that company has been there for a while, or any other company that can sell you Bitcoin. Get your wallet and then start getting familiar with the technology.
Yeah, I think that's a good point there, Eric. a lot of folks, they may see just only the negative news around Bitcoin, and maybe that's all they see. A lot of times you don't hear all the good things that are kind of bringing the price up, and maybe only things that are bringing price down. But I think that's a really good way. Just dip your toe in the pool, see that it's nice and warm, and $100, that's enough to have some skin in the game or something for you to follow it and really see kind of the dynamics of how the media works, and really where Bitcoin goes up and down. And you'll see that, it used to be a lot more volatile. There's been a lot of stability within the price, as of recent. But, with this upcoming cycle, like you mentioned, the halvening is coming. So I expect to see some volatility, but probably to the upside. I think most folks are saying we are now kind of officially almost there in the bull cycle for Bitcoin. Now, I guess saying that about Bitcoin, I'm not really sure what that means for other cryptos. A lot of times people are moving from one asset to another, so you may see some cryptos go down as Bitcoin goes up. There's things like the Bitcoin dominance that we're seeing against a lot of the other crypto markets. So just read about it, become familiar. But if you do have some skin in the game, you're more likely to pay attention and start reading about it. But definitely read about those basics. There's lots of books out there, and maybe we can touch on some of the more popular books out there, just so give you a little bit of background.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, a lot of people might think, well, you've got this Bitcoin. What are you going to do with it? I don't know. I haven't sold any yet, but, one of my thoughts is, hey, that Cybertruck is looking pretty good over there. In the news this week, we've been seeing a lot of new sightings of the Bitcoin. I think in the past couple of weeks, we saw the tradition of seeing the new Tesla vehicle going through the drive-through at In-N-Out over there in near Fremont. So there were some pictures captured of the Cybertruck, also with its black and white camouflage. As the camouflage, acting as if the camouflage actually does anything. I don't think anyone can confuse that for anything else. That Cybertruck shape is the one and only. But you know what? A lot of people thought, is this Cybertruck vaporware? It was announced back in November 2019, and we haven't seen much about it ever since. But as we're seeing these photos start coming, we can really realize that, hey, this production is really around the corner. I think Elon himself has said that he thinks production is really going to start here within third quarter. So we're thinking maybe that might be September. So, but keep in mind that some of the other previous models did come in a little bit early ahead of time. So, keep an eye out. We might get a surprise here, but for those that are kind of the naysayers and thinking about, oh man, it took about 4 years for this to get out there. You have to remember that they had to build a factory, and that factory is here down the road in Austin. We went through the pandemic. There's the chip shortages. All of these things kind of went against it, but battery sourcing, things like that. But it seems like they've gotten all of that figured out and in order, and Cybertruck is gonna be coming pretty soon. So I'm excited. I think I'm around 45,000 in line. I'm not sure. Hopefully that's about there, but I think it's really cool. Now, here's one tidbit that came out this week that I think is actually really interesting, is that they've sent out the Cybertruck, it seems like, to New Zealand for their winter testing. And this winter testing, what we've seen previously is like a month after they finish this winter testing is when we get the first official production units off the line. So if that really is the case, I think we may be seeing them really soon. Mando, what do you think? Do you have your reservation in for your Cybertruck?
Yeah, man, that thing is so ugly, but I love it.
It's brutal. It's a brutalist truck. That's what I love.
Yeah, it's like my partner, my wife, She's like, I don't like that thing. It's like, exactly, it's for me.
It's so true. You know, it's so funny. On when I think I may have mentioned it, but I thought it was a joke when it was first announced, first released, right back in 2019. I said, "Is that really true?" But I will tell you, within the first 24 hours, you know, it grew on me, and that's when I put my $100 down to at least be in line to order one when they came out. Now, I thought it might be out maybe last year sometime, but, you know, like I mentioned, there's a lot of things that maybe delayed it, but it looks like it is going to come. It's not vaporware. It's going to be coming. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, talking about this weekend, I thought that you will be passing now, man.
Yeah, talking about fun. Uh, hey, y'all, I went to Mando invited me over to his place this weekend to go hang out at the lake, and you know, okay, it's 100 degrees out here in Houston, in Texas, right? I don't know what's going on, but we've had like 2 weeks of 100-degree weather. But, you know, Mando's like, hey, let's go out on the kayak. My wife looked at me. She's like, I don't know about that. I don't think I'm going to go. But, you know, I'm up for an adventure. So we took out the kayak and, you know, we carried it out there and we got in there. And I thought it made... Mando didn't even give me a life vest, y'all. So I
Yes, you did. It's like, do you know how to swim?
hey,
I have
no,
life
I'm
vest.
macho here. Nah, I'm good. I'm good, Mando. I'm good. Don't worry about me. No, but no, we made it onto the kayak, and surprisingly, you know,
You were
didn't even get wet.
smooth getting into the kayak.
That was not the issue, right? Okay, let
That's
me
right.
tell you. Okay, I will admit I haven't been to the gym in a while. I'm working on that. I think I mentioned that previously. I'm trying to drop a few pounds here, but oh my goodness, these kayaks, they've got these seats that are a little flimsy. They're not made for the tortilla eating, fajita eating Hispanic dude over here. So I
And you
I
should be
was
happy. Some of those kayaks, they only have plastic. They don't even have that.
Well, okay. I lasted approximately 95 seconds before I told Gomez, "Hey, how far are we going here?" Well, we made a lap. We did make a lap.
We
Honestly,
did
we
make
made
a
a
lap.
lap.
But
Right.
let me correct that. I made the
You,
lap
you're right.
because I was the motor.
Yeah. Okay, just so the audience knows here, basically what was going on. So these seats, like I was basically doing a sit up the whole time, and I haven't been in the gym for quite, you know, it's been a minute, and so I'm basically planking the whole time. I'm like, my hips are like burning. They are burning. They're like super tense. Or like, Eric, what are you doing? So, you know, we made a lap, and I relied on Eric as the propeller here, as Gomez became the propeller, because I was holding on literally to the side of the kayak to hold myself up. Otherwise, I would have just been like lying down flat on that
Yeah.
kayak. But you know what? It was a good time. We got out into the lake, and you know, I always enjoy being on the water. So I appreciate you having us out there. Mando here has a beautiful family, so I appreciate getting to know them and hanging out. By the way, after the lake, we hung out at the pool, so I think that was more my style. Next time, we got to take a boat out. So
Yeah, for
let's
sure.
plan
For sure.
that.
Yeah, it's like I think that maybe that's the reason why I'm looking into a Tesla. Right? I'm looking into an EV to be able to go around. But what do you think about the going back to the topic on the Tesla? You were mentioning last time on the insurance, right? You're not convincing me to get the insurance.
I'm not convincing myself, honestly. Okay, so maybe I mentioned that last time. I remember I had Amica insurance, which, you know, my rates were actually pretty good. It's like $90 a month or something like that, and so they don't carry or they don't insure Tesla. So I said, well, okay, I got to find something else. But Tesla just makes it super easy, right? And we kind of ordered it through the app, and I was like, that's fine. But they are a little bit like Big Brother. They notice how you drive, but the thing is, it's not always like they get it wrong a lot of the time, I would say. So, for example, on the way to your place, I got 3 dings. And I'm like,
you were like Homer Simpson.
No. And it's like, every time I'm like, that's another $5. So, so I mentioned before it was $90. Now it's like $165 a month. So, okay, this must be part of Tesla's recurring revenue plan, I think,
or you might be a bad driver.
Like, recourse, and I would tell you these dings aren't real. It's like one ding, just driving down the road, and someone makes a right turn off to the street, right? Whatever. I'm going straight, but it dings you because it thinks you're getting too close to the car, but the car just made a right turn, but it can't differentiate that. Another thing was I was driving down the freeway, and there's like just the lane stripes, they changed. And so when I changed lanes to get on a different lane, it thought I was going off-road. And I'm like, I'm not going off-road, I'm just changing lanes. And that happened twice. So I got 3 dings. So I think maybe next month I might be at 180. So I will probably have to get off of the Tesla insurance and get onto something else. So I'm not supporting Elon's, I don't know. I'm not helping him buy his next.
And it's very likely that they don't go down, right? It just goes up.
I'm pretty sure it's just one way. I haven't seen it go down yet. So
yeah. You like anything else, right? There's pros and cons. Maybe the maintenance is lower, right? Maybe you don't have to change, obviously, oil, right? There's no need to do anything like that.
Yeah.
What are the other things? Maybe brake pads, right? You don't have to change them.
Yeah, so actually that's one of the cool things. It's got the regen braking. So for those of you that may have driven a golf cart before, an electric cart, it's kind of like one pedal driving almost. It's very similar with the Tesla. It's like you lift your foot off the gas pedal or the go pedal, and it starts slowing down automatically. Now you can adjust those settings if you don't like that, but that's how I leave it. But that just means that you don't use the brake as much. So your brakes are going to last a lot longer. I think, for me to fill up, it's basically like $7 worth of electricity or something versus, paying $50 for a tank of gas. So there's definitely some savings there, but I'm paying it in insurance costs. So that's, I save some here, but you end up spending it there. But, it's not really all about just the cost. It's really about trying to, do a little bit better for the environment. So I'm doing my part.
I think that now you're being outside more often, right? You're going to the beach, you're coming to the lake.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like, it's not like I've been like price sensitive to the price of gas, whatever. It's part of life. But yeah, now I'm like, you know what? Let's go to the beach. It's going to cost me $2 of electricity to go to the beach. Why not? Heading, visiting Mando here at the lake. It's just like, yeah, let's go driving. So it's kind of funny. I mean, we don't really put many miles on cars just because, I work from home. So I'm not really driving on a day-to-day basis anyways. And so we maybe use 3,000 miles a year. But we're already over that in just like after having it for, it's been maybe 4 months now, 4 or 5 months. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I'm on the list for sure. I'm not too interested on the other ones, the other Teslas. But the Cybertruck for sure. I'm on the list. I'm on the queue. I'm worried though, because last time that I was checking, there was like 1.5-2 million pre-orders, right? And
there's a lot.
And their production capacity, I have here different numbers, right? Between 50K that they can produce, and now they have a new factory, but I mean, even with the new factory, it's gonna be like 200 to 300,000. So if I'm in the middle of that million, I'm going to get my truck in like 2028.
A lot of people are feeling that pain, brother. But let me tell you what, I've seen stories where people they said, oh, I just pre-ordered 20 of them. Now, I don't really know if they're really going to buy 20 of them, but more than likely there's going to be lots of cancellations, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that could lead to that is really the pricing. We don't really know the pricing around it. So I think okay, I could tell you what it was like during its first announcement. They said they're going to have the single motor for 40,000, a dual motor for 50, and a triple motor or tri-motor for I think 70. There was a bit of a jump, but
Why
since
would you
then
need
they've
three
said they're
motors?
canceling. What's that?
Do you know why they will need three motors? Because I
More
get
power.
come on,
Yeah,
man. I mean, I get like four wheels, right? I mean, are they gonna put like six
I know,
wheels or
right?
what?
Yeah, I think that's it. So, well. By the way, like I say Elon tweeted that they probably aren't going to do the single motor. They're probably not going to do the tri-motor. That's going to be a quad motor. So it's going to be I guess a motor for each wheel. We're not really sure yet because nothing official has really come out around it. But people are saying it's likely just going to be the 2-motor variant and the 4-motor variant. But since this 4-motor variant just came out of nowhere, we don't have any pricing on it. People are just assuming it's going to be more than the tri-motor. Tri-motor was $70K. Maybe this will be $80K plus inflation prices. We don't really know. But I think depending how much it is, that's what's going to drive a little bit of the variability in terms of how many are actually going to be produced and shipped. Like whether you're going to have to wait 4 years or just 2 years to get yours.
For sure. The other thing that I landed into this website, Cybertruck's Owners Club,
Oh, yeah.
and a shout out for them. We are not a sponsor from them, but I really like communities that they have moderators, that they are kind of trying to help the community, right? So like in this case, this podcast, right? We are not making any money, and I think we are not trying to sell anything. It's basically we're just trying to help the Hispanic community and provide some information and entertain in the way. And I shout out for these people because they have a couple things that they are trying to figure out what place are you, right, based on the order number, and they have a couple things there. So I recommend it. And by the way, you can pre-order it if you're interested on the Tesla Cybertruck. It's $100. Again, who knows when you will get it? But I think that you never know. You might be the lucky ones and get a spot one.
Yeah, you know what? That reminds me. I do have referral code, so I'll put it in something. You can find it, and if you want, use my referral code. I think you probably get something for it. I'm not sure. You might get some free charging miles or something out of it. But I think I would get some too. So if you want to help us out, we're not making any money here, but that could help. But here's so that speaking of the Cybertruck Owners Club. So I did that thing where you plug in your order number or whatever, and that's why I think I'm around the 50,000 mark. They give you an estimate, but it's based off of a few things. One is like, are you a previous Tesla owner? So yeah, we've got a Model Y. So I think that check that helps me out a little bit. One, I'm in Houston, close-ish to Austin, right? Austin's what, 2 hours from here about?
2 hours and a half, yeah.
Or 2.5? Okay, a little bit more. So I think that's also a positive for me. And also I ordered, I guess, the highest trim at the time, which was the tri-motor with the full self-driving option. So I think that probably would get converted to a quad motor version. So I think those are the things that they've said previously that will get you moved up in line. So I'm hoping to get potentially something that could be by the end of the year. Some people have said it'll be between 10,000 and 50,000 this year, but I'm not holding my breath. It could be maybe early next year. So that would be fine by me. But really, it is depending a little bit on the price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think that what happened if it goes outside of the range where maybe it might make more sense to get a different kind of car, right? Like maybe an Italian car.
The one with the bull on it. Yeah, that's
Fiat,
what I'm thinking.
Fiat.
Yeah, Fiat. You read my mind. No,
I knew it.
you're right. Like I mentioned before, I'm kind of a car person since I've been a kid, and Lambo would be nice. So if that price of the Cybertruck keeps kind of climbing up, I might have to look at something else. I'm not like necessarily a truck person. In fact, I've never bought a truck before. I've really only been sports cars for the most part, except for when I was a kid, right? I kind of had my junker. But it's like, if it really climbs up in price there, I might just see what I can find, something that's already depreciated, maybe a Lambo like we were talking about last episode. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Right now, looking the pictures for the features of the Cybertruck, I noticed that they removed the front seat. So, I mean, didn't care, to be honest. It's just it's very interesting to see the progression on how they have like 6 seats, and now, for whatever reason, they figure out maybe we should not add it, right?
No.
We don't know if it's going to be bulletproof. What do you think?
I already know, man. They nickel and dime me. I'm for sure there's going to be an option for it.
I want
like,
I want my seat.
Yeah, you want that 6th seat? How bad do you want it?
Show me the money.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but no, it's true. It's actually kind of funny. I mean, it's just like when in software development, you got your minimum viable product, and you start off with all these grand ideas, but well, push comes to shove, you got to ship something. You got to start cutting stuff just to meet your deadlines and your money constraints, things like that. So, I mean, it happens. But I know a lot of people were interested in having that 6 seats for various reasons. You might want to read on Cybertruck Owners Club on what their reasons are for that. But yeah, by the way, it's still supposed to be stainless steel, right? We'll see if it's bulletproof. I'm not sure, but it's got the ball. Have you heard of the ball?
No.
BAW?
What is that?
The big ass wiper?
Man.
Yeah.
And I hear that thing is huge.
That's what she said. No, yeah.
I give it to you very easy, man.
Yeah, no, that thing is a magnificent piece of steel there that's cleaning the water off of your windshield. I was thinking, I think in the earlier prototypes they didn't have anything, right? And I'm like, oh man, yeah, they're working on some laser wipers or something.
Some electromagnetic technology.
They, Elon has access to those UFOs that are floating around out there. He's gonna use that technology on there, but no, he put a big ass wiper on there.
I only hear about the big ass fans, not a big ass wipers.
Yeah, I'm sure they can move a lot of water. So, but it's all part of the story of the Cybertruck. So
I just hope that my Cybertruck has pieces of metal of the SpaceX rocket. That would be cool.
You should put like a stamp on there. That'd be really cool. Yeah, for sure. I think they mentioned they're going to use the rocket ship metal, so I think that's pretty neat. I guess they know how to. They're going to use leftover rocket metal for the Cybertruck, or maybe they're going to use it's the other way around. They're going to use leftover Cybertruck metal on the rockets. That's what they're going to do, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I think that we are wrapping up this one. So any audience, please submit your requests, your questions. We have a couple ideas we will bring next time that we will do the pod. I think that we're going to focus on kind of side hustles and so on. So basically, and just let us know. Subscribe and download. What else, Eric?
Hey, like, subscribe, comment. Those are the 3 things we're asking you to do. I think we've got our YouTube channel coming up, so look for us there as well. But some closing thoughts here. We talked a little bit about, what are we what are our long-term goals? Like my Cybertruck, it's been a really long time. It's been 4 years at this point, but also, we've been in crypto for, it's running on a decade, and, we had some long-term goals there, and we've kind of stuck with it. And those are the things that we've ended up seeing that they're most successful for us. So, I ask of the audience, hey, what are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? What are your steps to get there? Start planting seeds, and you'll see kind of where things end up. So I think it's really important. Mando?
Always thoughts, words, and action. So in that way, you are able to put it into play. But yeah, dale, sin miedo.
Sin miedo, y'all. We will see y'all next time. Have a good one.
Cheers. Bye.